All right, so it's Sunday evening. We're on the West Coast. Change the camera angle here. So it's Sunday evening. We're on the West Coast, and today is my daily diary. We just talk about kind of what I do to make money off of a down market. Now, it's not as simple as, oh, the market's down, just buy some stocks. It really doesn't work that way. But there's a very specific methodology that I look at to find stocks that are way underpriced, that are kind of immune from going out of business and things that could really sabotage your investment. And being able to identify kind of what you're looking for and have the decision be made before you act the trade. Now, again, just like I've in the notes, I'm not a licensed broker. I'm not selling you stuff. I have no licenses whatsoever. But what I do have is a track record of making a lot of money when the market goes down. I made in the 2008 stock market crash, I made at least, and I haven't tallied it all, but at least 600 grand off that. So, and I'm not loaded with money. I just happen to know the right decisions to make. And I was doing this in the background, and I realized, you know what? There's probably people out there that are going through a really tough time. Maybe money's scarce, or they're afraid they're going to lose their job. They were furloughed, they lost hours. I mean, my next door neighbor works as a caterer, and I talk about that in prior videos. And I mean, he's just getting demolished. And the only thing worse than your paycheck getting demolished is when your morale gets demolished. And that's something he's struggling with right now. So we're trying to do whatever we can. We actually brought over some spaghetti over to his house just to make things a little bit easier for them and just let them know that we're here to help them out. And the last thing I'm going to do is tell him about this video. So if he finds out that I'm recording this video and he's going through a really tough time and he's sharing this, one, it just, kind of sucks in that regard. But if you're in that position, the point is, make money when the market is great. When people get rich and people make a ton of money, it's not because the economy is humming. It's when they make a choice when the market goes down. And the farther it goes down, the more you have a chance of getting an upside. So we're not going to talk about specific stocks today. We talk about that every day and kind of what I look at, the stocks that I'm paying attention to and what they do. But today it's Sunday evening, the market is closed, and tomorrow morning, the New York Stock Exchange floor is closed. So where you normally see traders running around, or at least that's what they want you to believe, because everything's electronic now. I don't think they're going to have any live shots from the trading floor. If they do, they'll probably have it the first day, and it'll just show the fact that you have this really odd situation where there's nobody down there. But with state after state instituting, kind of orders for people to stay in their home. I'm in California. They did that, I think, Thursday or Friday, although cards face on at the table. We had a batting cage open in town, and me and my team had a reservation, and we didn't miss it. So we were hitting baseballs and throwing baseballs around for 2 hours. So, the governor, you can say what he wants, but, we're not sitting in our house all day. But even in the state of Ohio, where I have family, they are putting in orders unless you're super essential, which is the most vague description possible. You're going to see people start to panic a little bit. You're going to see the amount of people as they're testing more, the amount of people that were identified with coronavirus go up. So, for example, today Rand Paul got diagnosed with coronavirus, or some athletes got diagnosed. Angela Merkel, who's the Chancellor of Germany, which always sounds like Hitler to me. I mean, at least they could change the name of that title. Call her president or prime minister, but chancellor is what Hitler was. You got to change that title, peeps. Her doctor was giving her a pneumonia, a vaccine against pneumococcal pneumonia, or whatever it is, and maybe it's an antibacterial. I don't know what they were doing, but he gave her a shot for something, basically as a preventative measure for pneumococcal pneumonia, which I actually had in January before all this coronavirus stuff happened. And she's quarantined for 2 weeks. So as you start to see the numbers go up, mainly not because I don't think any more people are infected. I mean, I don't know, but mainly because they're actually getting test results down, and they're getting, actually hard numbers that were probably people that already had it before, but we just didn't know. You're going to start to see people panic. And as I talked about in a couple of videos, and I've talked to a few people here in San Diego, we were sitting around 22,000. I said, yeah, when it hits 22, you're going to see people start to panic. People like my dad, who's 82 years old, who fortunately I talked to him, and he actually has only taken a 10% hit because he's really out of the market. I mean, it makes sense. You're 82, right? So, but people who have seen the dot-com crash in 98, they've seen 2001, or right after 9/11, they've seen the '08 crash. And this, it's like it's one more just right hook to the jaw. And you're going to see them panic. And it's funny because I had a number in my head and I was thinking, I think it's going to get down to about 15,000, the Dow Jones, kind of the main stock market number. And I just had that in my head. I just thought, okay, that's halfway down from about 30,000 where we were at before. That's about what was lost in the recession in '08. And I think it's going to get at least down to that. Well, then I actually heard one or two people on TV and they said that same number. They're trying to figure out where the bottom is, and they thought it was at least at 15. I really think it's going to get down to, I mean, at least 15, but you're going to see it go down to 12. And you're going to see talk of, and I think it's for, I think it's for rhetoric and public relations purposes, but you're going to see talk about airlines going out of business and hotels going out of business. And I think more than anything, not that it couldn't happen. Well, okay, for airlines, it's not going to happen. But I think part of it is to get headlines in the news so they have their lobbyists have leverage to go talk to Congress and the White House about getting a bailout or some loan package. And that being said, my brother's a pilot for American Airlines. So, I kind of understand what's going on the inside. But you have to remain sober. You have to know what's going on. And right now, we are getting the biggest scratch and dent sale ever. We're getting the biggest clearance sale you could ever imagine. It's like 2-day-old cookies in a cookie store. I used to work in a cookie store. So you'd make them on day one, you'd sell them on day two. And if they didn't sell by day three, you had to throw them away. Or as I did, I brought them home. The ones that I wanted, which were usually the chocolate covered cheesecake. That was the one that usually came home with me. But right now, you want to be in an all cash position. And if you're looking at the market right now, and I advocate anybody to do this, typically you have the stock market, and then you have things that hedge against it. So typically it's gold, silver, and Bitcoin are the main three that you look at. There are other things that hedge against it, but typically the lower the stock market gets down there. Well, gold went up to some crazy number. I forget, it was like over $3,000. I forget the number, but silver, I remember, went up to almost 50. It was at about 50. And right now it's sitting at 11. And there's times when people don't know and there's volatility in the stock market. And you saw what happened with Bitcoin about 2 years ago. It went all the way up to $20,000 per Bitcoin, just a hair short of that. But that hasn't happened this time. As the stock market's gone down, Bitcoin went down. And as the stock market went down, gold and silver both went down, which is really odd. And so as I'm watching business channels, I'm just trying to get an overall sense of where people are at. And one of the terms that I hear a lot is that people are in cash. And what that means is they're taking their money out of the market and they're letting it sit on the sidelines. And mainly because they know that the professionals, the people that make it just insane, illicit amounts of money, know the same thing that I'm telling you now, is that you want to keep it unspoken for. And when you get to a point at the, where it gets to a certain number where you want, then go ahead and buy. And so on the Daily Digest, I talk about certain stocks that I look at that I think are way too low. I know they're going to come back. They're big enough. They have lobbying groups that lobby for them. So for example, casinos and airlines and hotel chains. I mean, think about this. We have a president who made his living building hotel chains. You really think that guy is going to let hotel chains go under? No, these are all his friends, right? You're not going to let airlines go under. You can't. It's an absolute necessary organization. If they file bankruptcy, you know what it means? Somebody's going to buy them out, and they're just going to have new management. That's really all it is. And the same thing, you look at Vegas. Vegas isn't going anywhere. I mean, Vegas is dead right now. But as soon as they open the gates a little bit, do you really think that anybody on the West Coast, after being stuck in their house for weeks or months on end, isn't going to go to Vegas and just let loose. I mean, it's absolutely going to happen. So we'll talk more about specific stocks and opportunities and what I'm looking for. But on a Sunday night going into Monday, a couple things of note that I'm kind of looking forward to and anticipating. Number one, a symbol of the stock market, although it's not functional and it's not needed, you're going to see that the actual floor of the New York Stock Exchange is going to be empty because one of the traders got coronavirus. And so they're literally just closing it down, but it's an optics thing. People don't know that the traders on the floor aren't doing all the stock investing. It's all done via Robinhood or E-Trade or through a broker, but it's all done electronically, and there's a ton of it that's done in what's called high frequency trading, which is just a computer algorithm doing all the trading without anybody being involved. So you're going to see that, and I think people are going to look at that. You're going to look at other states that are imposing, basically stay-at-home orders. You're going to see the things that are happening, the numbers that are happening in Italy. You're going to see all these bad news where you have additional countries instituting greater and more draconian measures. And really, if you look at what's really happening on the ground over the last week, I don't think a whole lot's changed. I mean, nobody's making money. There's, literally no revenue coming into these companies. But as the headlines come in, you're going to start to see people panic. As we're under 20,000, everything from here on out is a matter of panic. The question is, what's going to trigger that panic? So we're going to look at this week, and we're going to go day by day, because I think we're all going day by day right now. Is we're going to look at specifically what's happening in the market, what's happening with certain segments, what are the stocks that I'm looking at, what are the trends that I see, how are they behaving, and where are the opportunities that I'm looking to buy. So again, I'm not a registered investment advisor. I don't have a license. I'm not telling you what to buy, but I'm just walking you through what I'm doing. And I'll tell you right now, I was looking at it right before I came on, and basically in the last few weeks with the market down, I'm up about 15%. And we haven't even done anything. And that even includes some things that have been flat, or some stocks that I know have gone down that I bought at a point and they've gone down farther, which is fine because I didn't really invest a whole lot of money. But the big movement up is coming. Maybe it's in a couple weeks, maybe it's in a couple months. Who knows? Maybe it's near the end of the year. But right now, it is like buying Christmas lights on the day after Christmas. I mean, everything is at a massive discount. But what I'm looking for is try to find a point where we can really maximize the discount as much as possible. So as you look at what happens in the market this week, there's an opportunity to do some really cool stuff. And I'll tell you this, I have my tax return coming in. That's going into, and I have a big refund coming, but that's going straight into the investment account and sitting there waiting for an opportunity. But what I'm looking to do when all this is said and done, we've talked about this before, is I'm expecting to have roughly a 6 to 7 times, and it could be higher, but about a 6 to 7 times profit on the money that I put in. And I have a number in my head. I'm not telling you what the number it is, but it's a big, big number on what I want to see at the end of this. This is an opportunity. It's Christmas early on, even though it sucks, the economy's terrible, bad things are happening to people, and who knows, bad things might happen to me. But at the end of the day, if you want to make a life-changing money, this is a once in a life opportunity to finally put your finances in order, to be able to finally afford the house you want to have, and to be like Joseph in the Bible in Egypt, where he got told ahead of time that there was going to be a big famine in the land. So there was 7 years of plenty. And what he did was he stored up the grain, which in our parlance now is just being in a cash position. And then when the famine came, it was about basically distributing the grain and all the countries around them. People travel in from Canaan and from other countries, and he would basically sell them grain, and they got through the 7 years. So the idea is we're going to get through this. This is an opportunity, as bad as it is. You want to have your money on the sidelines, and you want to have an educated approach to this and be sober. For me, when the market goes up, fine, it goes up, but I know it's going to keep going down the longer people are basically sitting home doing nothing, watching Netflix, which, by the way, the speeds seem to have gone down lately because of the congestion. But having an opportunity when it finally gets low enough to put your money in very targeted positions, and when this comes out on the end of it, it's like the end of the movie Trading Places. And everybody's at home. So at the end of this video, I want you to go on Netflix or Prime. I don't know where it's at. Maybe you have it on a DVD. It could be any number of things, but you need to go and watch Trading Places. And the end of the movie is exactly what we're talking about. They knew exactly where the market was going to go. They knew everybody was freaking out. They're scared to death. It was mentioned a few different times in the movie, but they stay very sober. They know what they're approaching. They know what they want to buy. They know the price they want to buy it at. And at the end of the movie, they're sitting on a desert, or not desert island, they're sitting on a tropical island drinking Mai Tais. Some of them are on the island. Some of them are on the new yacht they just bought. So we have a lot to look forward to this week. If you have any questions, post them in the comments, and see you tomorrow.